Her name was Amina. She woke up every morning before sunrise in a small rented room in Queens, New York. The room was barely large enough for a bed and a suitcase. Amina had come to America with hope, fear, and a strong heart. Back home, she had been a schoolgirl with dreams of studying law. Life had other plans. After her father passed away, she became responsible for her younger siblings. Education ended early, and survival became the priority. In America, her first job was as a domestic worker. She cleaned houses, cooked meals, washed clothes, and cared for children who spoke a language she was still learning. Her employers were powerful people, lawyers, business owners, political donors. They talked loudly about policies, elections, and power, while she worked silently in the background. Most of them never asked her name. Amina listened. She listened while wiping kitchen counters. She listened while folding expensive clothes. She listened while rocking babies to sleep. Politics slowly became familiar. Words like Senate, bill, campaign, immigration reform lived in her mind. At night, she read. She borrowed books from the public library, English grammar, history, American government, biographies of leaders. She underlined sentences and practiced speaking alone. Her accent was heavy, but her understanding was sharp. One evening, while working late at a townhouse in Washington, D.C., her employer hosted a dinner. Guests included staff members from a U.S. senator's office. They talked about immigrant labor without noticing the immigrant standing beside them. Amina served food and quietly observed. When the senator arrived, the room changed. People straightened their backs and softened their voices. Amina noticed how leadership worked, not through shouting, but presence. While clearing plates, she overheard the senator mention a new proposal affecting domestic workers. Amina paused. Her hands trembled. The policy would harm people like her. She knew the facts. She had lived them. Later that night, she wrote everything she knew. Long pages about wages, abuse, fear, dignity, and contribution. She did not plan to send it. Writing was her way to breathe. Days later, something unexpected happened. The senator's chief aide fell sick. The House needed help organizing papers and schedules. Amina was asked to assist temporarily. She sorted files, answered phones, and managed calendars. Her efficiency stood out. She corrected an error in a briefing document, respectfully and quietly. The aide noticed. "Who taught you this?" he asked. Amina answered, "Life taught me." From that moment, the door cracked open, not wide, just enough for light. She did not know it yet, but her journey from unseen worker to voice in power had begun. Amina entered the senator's office early every morning. The building was large, cold, and filled with movement. Staff members walked fast, holding folders and coffee cups. They spoke in confident tones. At first, Amina felt invisible again. But invisibility had once been her shield. Now it was her advantage. She observed everything: how meetings were prepared, how briefing notes were written, how one sentence could change a decision. She learned names, procedures, and power structures. She memorized schedules faster than anyone else. The chief aide began trusting her with more responsibility: draft copies, organizing constituent letters, summarizing phone calls from voters. Many of those calls were from immigrants, domestic workers, farm workers, caregivers. Their stories mirrored her own: long hours, low pay, fear of deportation, silence. Amina felt their pain deeply, but she stayed professional. She turned emotion into clarity. One afternoon, the senator reviewed a report prepared by staff. He paused. "This perspective is missing," he said. "Where are the voices of workers themselves?" The room went quiet. No one answered. Amina hesitated. Her heart raced.
She remembered every night she cleaned floors, crying silently. She spoke carefully. "Sir, I hear those voices every day. They call here, they write letters. I can summarize their concerns if allowed." The room froze. No one expected the quiet domestic worker to speak. The senator looked at her. "Who are you?" he asked. Amina stood straight. "My name is Amina. I work here temporarily, but I have lived these policies." There was a long pause. Then the senator nodded. "Prepare a summary by tomorrow morning." That night, Amina did not sleep. She wrote through exhaustion. She organized experiences into policy language. She removed anger and added solutions. Fair wages, protections, pathways. The next day, the senator read her document slowly. "This is strong," he said. "Who helped you?" Amina replied, "No one." From that day, she was invited into meetings, not as a guest, not as a token, but as someone who knew the ground reality. Some staff members resisted. They whispered, "She is just a cleaner. She does not belong here." Amina heard everything, but she focused on excellence. She learned legislative drafting, public speaking, negotiation. She practiced English pronunciation every night. She studied American law deeply. She asked questions fearlessly. The senator began assigning her research tasks: immigration, labor protections, human rights. She delivered every time. Journalists noticed her presence, an immigrant woman sitting near power. They asked questions. The office protected her. Months passed. Her role became unofficial but essential. The senator trusted her judgment. He asked, "How will this affect workers? How will this sound to someone without papers?" Amina answered honestly, sometimes challenging him, sometimes disagreeing. Respect grew. One evening, the senator said, "You have insight most advisors lack. I want you on my advisory team." Amina felt the weight of history. She thought of her mother, her siblings, every floor she scrubbed. She accepted. But challenges were coming. Power never arrives without resistance, and Amina was about to face the hardest test of her journey.
Amina's new role changed everything. Her badge now allowed access to rooms once closed to her: conference halls, strategy sessions, private briefings. Yet, with access came pressure. Some senior advisors questioned her presence openly. They spoke politely but coldly, asking about her qualifications, her education, her background. Amina answered calmly. She never apologized for where she came from. Outside the office, criticism grew louder. Anonymous emails questioned the senator's judgment. Commentators whispered about optics, an immigrant, former domestic worker advising national policy. Amina felt the weight of every headline, but she remembered the women she had worked beside: invisible, essential, exhausted. She was not there for comfort. She was there for them. One morning, a major labor reform bill reached committee stage. It aimed to protect domestic workers nationwide. Fair pay, rest days, legal protection. Opposition was fierce. Lobbyists flooded the building. During a closed-door meeting, the senator asked for honest opinions. Most advisors focused on numbers, votes, compromise. Amina spoke last. "This bill is not charity," she said. "It is recognition. These workers already hold the system together." Silence followed. Then debate erupted. Some warned the bill would fail. Others feared backlash. The senator looked at Amina. "Can you help us win public support?" he asked. She nodded. Amina organized listening sessions, not with elites, but with workers: caregivers, nannies, cleaners. She coached them to tell their stories clearly, bravely. She stood beside them at press events, not above, not behind. Media narratives shifted. Faces replaced statistics. Voices replaced assumptions. Still, resistance hardened. a powerful committee member blocked the bill, calling it unrealistic. Amina requested a private meeting. Many doubted it would be granted, but the senator trusted her. In the meeting, she spoke without notes. She described a day in her former life, before dawn, after midnight, no sick leave, no voice. She connected each policy point to reality. The committee member listened, not convinced but shaken. Days later, the bill moved forward, narrowly. Victory was not complete, but progress was real. That night, Amina walked alone through the city. Lights reflected off wet streets. She felt pride and fear together. With visibility came danger. Threats arrived. Online abuse, letters, warnings. She was advised to stay quiet. Amina refused. Silence had never protected her. Instead, she spoke smarter, strategic, measured, unbreakable. The senator stood by her publicly, calling her one of the strongest minds in his office. But another challenge loomed. An investigation questioned her immigration past. Old paperwork errors resurfaced. Opponents tried to discredit her, to erase her voice. Amina faced the possibility of losing everything. Yet she did not panic. She prepared, because survival had taught her one thing: truth backed by courage changes outcomes, and the final battle was approaching. The investigation was relentless. Lawyers, auditors, and reporters all scrutinized every detail of Amina's past: her immigration papers, her employment history, her references. They wanted a mistake. They wanted an excuse to remove her from the senator's office. Amina met with lawyers every day. She compiled documents, letters, certificates. She rehearsed answers. She prepared for hearings. Her nights were short. Her mornings were longer. Through it all, the senator supported her. He made public statements about her integrity, dedication, and expertise. He invited colleagues to witness her work firsthand. He reminded everyone that she had earned her place through skill and courage. Some allies helped quietly. They vouched for her character and her knowledge. They reminded the investigators that she had transformed policy discussions. Her understanding of workers' issues had improved legislation. Her research had prevented costly mistakes. Her insight was valued by multiple offices. The opposition continued to push. Every day a new rumor. Every day a fresh accusation. The pressure was immense. It would have broken anyone else. But Amina was not anyone else. She had scrubbed floors at dawn. She had cared for children. She had cleaned offices where powerful people made decisions without thinking about those like her. She had survived humiliation, fear, and loneliness, and she had learned to turn hardship into strength. During the final hearing, she spoke calmly. Her words were precise and confident. She explained her journey from domestic worker to advisor. She connected her lived experience to policy insight. She outlined every step she had taken legally and professionally. The room was silent. No whispers, no interruptions. Her voice carried weight because it was true and prepared. When the hearing ended, the decision was clear. She faced no charges. Her immigration status was verified. Her position remained secure. Relief washed over her, but she did not celebrate alone. She thought of the workers she represented, the invisible millions whose stories she carried. Their triumph was hers too. After the investigation, she received invitations to speak at conferences, universities, think tanks, advocacy groups. Her story inspired many. Media outlets featured her journey. The narrative shifted from immigrant domestic worker to trusted policy advisor. Her influence grew. She advised on labor reform, immigration policy, healthcare. She guided legislation with insight few in Washington possessed. Her perspective bridged the gap between lawmakers and everyday citizens. Yet Amina remained grounded. She returned to her modest apartment. She remembered her first night in America, her family back home, her struggle to learn English. She remembered fear, hunger, and the nights she cried quietly while cleaning someone else's home. Those memories became fuel. She never forgot where she came from.
and she never lost sight of why she worked. The senator valued her more than ever. He included her in strategic decisions, high-level negotiations, public briefings. She earned respect not only from him, but from colleagues who had doubted her. Her persistence, intelligence, and courage had reshaped perceptions. And still, she knew the final chapter of her journey was approaching, a chapter not just of survival, but of leadership and legacy. Amina's reputation had grown far beyond the senator's office. She was invited to national panels, conferences, and committees. Her story was shared as proof that perseverance and integrity could break barriers. Yet she remained humble, grounded, and focused on her mission. Her influence reached the drafting of historic labor legislation. She worked tirelessly with lawmakers, activists, and workers themselves. She organized listening sessions, town halls, and focus groups. She made sure policies were shaped by the voices of those who had been ignored for decades. One day, the senator asked her to lead a new advisory council for immigrant and domestic workers. It was a formal position with authority and responsibility. Amina accepted. She remembered the long nights cleaning houses, the fear of being unseen, the determination to learn and survive. She built a team of advocates who shared her vision. Together, they created programs for legal aid, fair wages, healthcare access, and education opportunities. They trained workers to speak up. They connected communities to policymakers. Every success was a step forward for millions. Amina also mentored young women in the city. Many had backgrounds like hers. They had faced discrimination, exploitation, and doubt. She taught them confidence, strategy, and resilience. She told them their past was not a limitation, but a foundation. Through it all, Amina never forgot her first employer's townhouse, or the nights she read borrowed library books, or the children she cared for. Those experiences had shaped her empathy and insight. They gave her the courage to challenge the system while respecting it. Years later, she stood in the Senate chamber. A historic vote was about to be cast for comprehensive labor reform. Amina watched from the advisory gallery. She had helped craft every clause, every amendment, every protection. The legislation passed unanimously, a moment of triumph for those who had long been invisible. The senator turned to her and smiled. "You changed how we see workers," he said. "You changed how we legislate. You changed history." Amina looked down at her hands, remembering their journey. Hands that had scrubbed floors, folded clothes, held children. Hands that now shaped policy and justice. She realized that success was not measured by titles or recognition. It was measured by the lives she touched, by the dignity she restored, by the hope she ignited. From domestic worker to trusted advisor to national advocate, Amina had transformed not only her own life, but the lives of thousands. Her story became a beacon, a testament to courage, determination, and the power of never giving up. She smiled, knowing the journey was far from over. There were more battles, more policies, more voices to amplify. But she had proven that one determined person could rise from the shadows to the heart of power, and in doing so, could change the world.